Now, if you're coming to Diablo 4 beta expecting things you know from Diablo 3 or even Diablo 2, then you might find yourself a bit confused and not really knowing what to do in certain moments. Not to worry, here are a couple of helpful tips with no spoilers to make sure you have a smooth experience playing Diablo 4 beta. So at the beginning of the game, everything is pretty basic and easy, so just make sure you don't rush as you can only reach level 25. Plenty of time to take in the vistas, the dialogues, cutscenes, read up on items and abilities, main goal being for you to get familiar with the game. So take your time and enjoy everything. Once you start getting more deep into the story and side quests, you will eventually discover the different vendors and start getting more and more talent points, unlocking your abilities, maybe getting your first couple of legendaries and so on. Important note here, gold is quite important. On top of the cost of respeccing later on, upgrading items, crafting items, extracting legendaries, adding legendary effects to yellow items, all these cost gold. You don't want to waste your gold on buying items from vendors, for example, not in the beta at least. You will get plenty of good drops in the world in the dungeons. You do want to sell stuff, but always check affixes on items and stats before you do that. Same deal for legendaries. Don't just go off and sell everything you don't need, but rather keep items for future upgrades and keep legendaries that will be useful later on to extract their power and use it on a different item. So it's best to keep a balance between things you sell and things you keep. Best practice here would be to visit your stash from time to time and place gems, legendaries and rare items that you will use later as to not overcrowd your inventory. In the same spot here, you will have the wardrobe, the place where you can transmog your gear or do some more customizations on your character. Now, some classes have access to their specializations, and these come in forms of quests. It's best you do these once they become available, as they really do add up to the power of your class. For my barbarian, for example, the quest was indeed available, but it was in a zone you couldn't access in the beta. Rogue, I believe, can do it, sorceress too. And okay, as this is spoiler free, I'm not going to tell you what the quests are or what they give you. Just do them before progressing onto your main story or side quests and you will be happy. All I can say is they are quite easy to finish. If you press tab to see your map and then press W, you will see the interface of the regional progress. Basically, every major zone has a reward once you complete it, and here you can track your progress. These generally award gold and XP, and since you are in a zone, it's a good idea to check this once in a while to be sure you're not leaving without it being complete. It's not a huge requirement, as generally you tend to get these done just by playing, but hey, I missed a couple, so you don't have to. While exploring the world, always keep an eye out for little statues of Lilith. These will also be very important once the game launches, and it's best to get familiar with them early on. Altars of Lilith is what they're called, and once you click them, they permanently add stats to your character, XP, and renown. Renown will be crucial for endgame, as it will give you more skill points and more paragon points. Not something you will be able to test out now, but 100% very important to remember. So, eyes out for Altars of Lilith, okay? Also, while moving around, collect all the plants and ores that are available. Plants will be especially useful once you bring them to the alchemist in Kyovashad, as she will make elixirs you can use to be a bit more beefy or upgrade your healing potion heals and capacity. You can find her right here. Moving even further into your adventures in the beta, as you discover more of the map, you will see these icons here that are basically dungeons which will unlock you legendary aspects. Not all of these will be useful to you, as there are many which are class specific, but those who apply to you or the general ones are very worthwhile doing. Not only will you get the feel of a Diablo 4 dungeon with a juicy boss fight at the end, but you will also unlock a legendary aspect that you can put on a rare item. More on that later. Which leads me to the occultist vendor found in Kyovashad, the main city. His name is Damien, and he will grant you access to the Codex of Power system, where you can either add a legendary aspect, you know, the ones you can find from the dungeons, to a rare item, or extract a legendary effect from an existing item in your inventory and add that to a different yellow item. Remember when I told you to save up on gold? Well, these right here cost a lot, but regardless, it's a good idea to start using this system because the yellow items will be giga upgrades in terms of power level and affixes. Attaching a cool legendary effect to them will boost your power, and it will be the main way you get stronger once the game is out and you reach endgame, so don't skip it, get familiar with it. There is also the gear upgrade system, which is available pretty much at every blacksmith. Although not as powerful as attaching a legendary effect to an item, it's still very strong as it will take any existing item you have and have it boost its stats. Very expensive once again. Did I mention to save up on gold? I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to take away too much of your joy exploring and discovering shit out, but as a last note, try to log in early and do some yoga or meditate prior to the open beta being available, as you may or may not encounter some login queues or some lag, disconnects, and so on. They have fixed these issues last weekend, but you never know with Blizzard these days. Hope this was of help, and if it was, drop a like. There's a lot more where this came from. Bye!